All right, let's talk about evening skin tone. So this baby boy is not too bad, but he's a little bit yellow in the face compared to his hands and his legs. So I want to get that evened out a little bit. So I'm just going to turn on my layer where I've already filled in that corner and done just a little bit of flake work on his skin. Nothing too drastic so far, just a couple little things here and there. And then I just want to change around some of these colors. So first I'm going to do a quick hue saturation layer. So I have it built as an action. I just hit Command or F2, excuse me, and it will bring up a new layer. What you want to do if you don't have an action built is come down here and go to hue saturation in these adjustment layers. You want it to be an adjustment layer that you can come back and change again. So in the properties tag, you're going to go to the red channel. You're going to bring it all the way up. Let me bring this over so you guys can see a little bit better. And bring it all the way up so that we go nice and nuclear. This is going to show us what's being affected and what's not. So the areas that are dark blue, those are the areas that are being affected the most. These lighter teal areas, a little bit less so. And then the areas that show no color change, they're not being affected at all. So this green romper really not being affected. So I'm going to just bring this down. When you close these little brackets down, you are affecting less of the area. So what I want it to do is, because I'm in my red channel, I want to affect all these areas that are the most red. So down here on his feet and his legs are a little bit. In here in his kind of T-zone area, we're a little bit red, and on his palms. And of course his lips, but we don't want to change his lips. So I'm going to fix that in a minute. So this is about right for the areas that I want to affect. I'm going to bring this back down to 0. Now, if I go all the way to the left, it's going to go purple. If I go all the way to the right, it's going to go that green. And if you look down here, this is how you can always remember which direction it's going to move toward, depending on where you go. We're in our reds, and if we shove them to the left, they're going to go more magenta. If we shove them to the right, they're going to go more yellow. And we want him to go more yellow because we want to bring the yellows in his face to the same color as the rest of his skin. So instead of going to the left, we're going to go to the right into the positives. Somewhere right around 5, 6-ish is usually pretty good. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to bring up some saturation, and I want to bring up a little bit of lightness. Not too much, but just a little bit. Then I'm going to go to the yellow channel. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring it up. This time I want to affect these outer areas where it is a little bit more yellow, not in that T-zone that we just made a little bit more red, or a little bit less red, excuse me. So somewhere like that is kind of where I want to affect on his skin this time. And then I'm going to bring this back down to 0, and I'm going to go the other direction with it. So I want it to move towards the red channel this time. So I'm going to go somewhere around like 2 or 3, not too far, because I want him to be mostly yellow, not very red. So, okay, that's about where I want it. So I'm going to click out of there, and I'm just going to look at these changes. Now, can you see it's very, very subtle, particularly on his legs. So what I want to do is I just want to come in and get rid of, I'm going to paint on this layer mask so that right now it's affecting everything. Everything that's white is affected. Everything that's black is not. There's no black on it, so everything's being affected. I'm going to change my color to black just by hitting the X key, and then I'm just going to paint out his lips. So there we go. Now, can you see this little sting in here is moving? His hands are moving a little bit more yellow. His face is moving a little bit less yellow. And now he looks more even all the way around. It's probably fairly hard for you to see on your screen. It's always difficult to showcase these things, but when we get to the end, you're going to see it more. And it's supposed to be a subtle shift. It's not supposed to be this like big drastic thing. So one other thing that I do want to do is I want to add a little bit of pink back to his cheeks. I'm just going to feather that selection and add a curve. My curve, again, is built as an action layer so that it's putting it in here as an adjustment, but you can come down to this like half circle and go to your red channel and just bring up a little bit of red right there. And I'm just going to blur it. And then I'm just going to drop the opacity so it's not quite so aggressive. Just add a little bit of pink to his little cheeks. There we go. All right. Now we can see just subtle changes here and there Nothing too bad. If you wanted to go more aggressive with it, like let's say you wanted those legs to really match his face, they are a little bit brighter than them right now. You could come in and actually, I'm just going to do a really quick selection first and then we can refine. But let's just do this. I'm going to go to my curves and I'm just going to drop the exposure down just a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit of contrast. The opposite of blue is yellow. So if you want to add yellow, you need to take out blue. So I'm going to just drop that down a little bit. And then I'm going to come to my red channel and just drop my red ever so slightly. The opposite of red is cyan. So you have to be a little bit careful when you're dropping cyan or dropping red because you're adding cyan. And sometimes cyan makes baby's skin go a little bit too cold and blue. So what you can do in that case is actually add or take out a little bit of green. If you take out a little bit of green, you're adding a little bit of magenta, which is going to make it look more red. In this case, I think we just don't want to do that at all. We just want to go with the yellows. So I'm going to pull those points off my curve. I'm going to hit OK. And then let's look at this. There's before, there's after. I am extended beyond his legs. So I might want to come in here and finesse this mask and actually just get his legs. So I'm just painting with black. You can actually do like a full selection and get a much tighter, nicer selection. But I'm just doing this quickly for showcasing sake. I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to blur the heck out of it and get this little bit left on his leg. And blur it again. Okay. There's before. There's after. I think that's a little bit aggressive. Drop the opacity a bit. There's before. There's after. Getting a little bit better. It's getting that like much warmer, deeper tone that's similar to his face. You also could come in and brush a little bit of this onto his hands if you wanted to really try and even everything out. You want to make subtle little shifts so that they're not too aggressive. That's what's going to get you the most natural looking results so that it's not too much. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, we're pretty darn even all the way around. Now, the only thing that I will say that for me, this blanket that I always use in my studio has a little bit of a yellow tone to it. It makes everything look a little bit yellow, and I don't love that. So I have an action that I've built that's a selective color action, and it just takes some of that yellow out. So I'm just going to click my remove yellow, and there it is.